onto hers and gave her a stage name because he said all hit singers had made-up names. Now, Della refused to look at the homemade pasteboard sign that was stuck in the pocket of the suitcase lid, but she saw it in her mind's eye anyway. Saturday Night Only, Johnny Dupree, featuring Della Lester. Those words used to make her heart fly. "We going all the way to the top." That's what Lester used to say. Della shook her head to clear her thoughts, and it wasn't nothing but a bunch of mess. Della. No. Della. Della Frazier. Mrs. Will Frazier. She said it aloud as if to convince herself, because that's how it was going to be. A new name for a new start. Della didn't know how long she'd been staring into the suitcase, but she jumped when one fat teardrop plopped on the bodice of the dress, then another. How am I going to marry this man? I can't even make a biscuit. Della wiped her face with the heel of her hand, then closed up the bag and shoved it under the cot because she wouldn't be needing the things that belonged to her old life anymore. Will's a good man, strong, honest, takes care of things, like Papa. Della rolled her white cotton nightgown and put it in her battered blue suitcase, closed it up, and set it by the door. Will saved me. Twice now. She straightened the seams of her stockings and stepped into her gray tweed skirt. She used to get up in the middle of the night to rub the silver fox collar of the jacket that went with it. The suit had been a gift from Lester, and she thought twice about wearing it to marry Will. But it was the best-looking outfit she had. It made her feel grown. Grown enough for this? At 18, Della had seen enough to make her feel older, some days. Brown as bourbon, she was near tall as most men, with long, lean legs, which she happened to think were her best feature. Nobody ever called her mannish, but pretty didn't fit either. She had a strong, square jaw and eyes that turned down at the corners, just a little, making her look sad sometimes, even if she wasn't. But her face came alive when she sang. People were startled when she opened her mouth, and a voice pure as rain and strong as a hurricane filled the room. Della was imposing, more mountain than foothill, more river than stream. She wasn't the ribbon or the bow or the pretty wrapping paper. Della was the whole package. She just didn't know it. "You ain't gone and chickened out, have you?" Hambone called to her from the kitchen on the other side of the dingy, flowered curtain where he was getting ready for the first morning customers at Pal's. "I ain't studying you, Hambone." She propped her hand mirror on the shelf against the red and black Louisiane coffee cans, stooped down and combed through the tight rows of hard curls Lucille had put in last night with her smallest curling iron so they'd last. They had pretended like it was a regular hairdresser visit, so neither one had to face goodbye. For the weeks Della had stayed in the storeroom, she'd watched Lucille and Hambone like a hawk. They seemed to be as different as day and a potato, but every spare moment they'd be huddled up together, talking, laughing, acting like they preferred each other's company to anybody else in the world. "That's just how Will and me are gonna be." She put on her jacket, buttoned it to the top, but didn't allow herself to fondle the dense, soft fur this time. "I know me and Will gonna have a better life than the one we'd have in this town. I'm ready." A deep sigh escaped as Della picked up the blue suitcase, pushed open the curtain, and walked through the doorway. 1. You can't cut your dresses by my pattern. Present day, Buffalo, New York. "Ma?" Ronnie leaned against the blue Formica counter and shuffled the hodgepodge of dishes in the cabinet. "Where's my mug?" Even though she'd been away for years, there was something about being in the kitchen at home that made her sound like she was 9 years old. She looked over her shoulder at her mother. Della sat at the dinette table, head in hand, staring into her lukewarm cup of coffee like she was searching for something she'd misplaced a long time ago. Ma is really out of it. Ronnie had been torn up since she got the call about her daddy, and getting through this long, sad